So then, hello my friends. Today we are going to try and make a game called Simon's Game. So that's like a memory game where you need to remember what colors in what order you should press. So I have a website that actually demonstrates this game that is working. So we have everything set up for it, and this is not gonna be like a ready pro stream where every no one knows the answer, so I will be coding this like for the first time, and I will be trying to tell um, why things look as they are and what kind of mistakes you will be able to make in here. So it will be an interesting experience. And as a warm-up, I will be uh, I'll be showing you how this actually works. So before starting game, I need to press something. So I'll be pressing like an, I don't know, S button on my keyboard. So level 1 is the beginning of the game. So after the game began, I need to press on the buttons in a certain order. So it's like every time the button pressing will be extended, so you need to remember more and more um, colors what you need to press on. So as you can see, um, I've done a really nice thing, and you can actually press everywhere. But what happens if I am wrong? For example, I press on the red instead of green. So it's a game over, and I need to press another key to restart. So uh, this is how the game works, and this is what we have. So we have 4 colors. That's our game, and that's ready game. So we have 4 colors. Right now, I have my index HTML. As you can see, there are some buttons in here, and it's really basic. There is some fonts connected in here. There is the style sheet, so I'll make it Simon Game. That will what the title will say. And I have my styles, so there is nothing uh, really difficult. So I have everything in my container. It's as you can see, it takes up to 50% of the width, and it has a margin auto, so this actually makes everything in the container in the middle. So I have the buttons, their styles. I have my buttons that have each own unique color. So, and I have what will happen if I press a certain button. So it will show you like a background color, and that's about like it. So that's the all the CSS. So that's the level title. um, as you can see, that's about it. So um, The first thing after you begin your project, after the HTML and CSS, you actually uh, need to actually make your JS folder. So that's where you will be adding your JavaScript, your um, jQuery. We'll be using jQuery in this project, and I will be saving actually the jQuery code right in here. So my folder will be called JS, and I will be making a index.js file. So it's right now it's empty, and I'll be connecting it to the page. So usually you connect it at the end. I'll tell you like why. So that's how we connect the JavaScript at the end. So when the page loads, fully loads, these buttons, everything, the title, only then the JavaScript will load. So when you open the website, usually the computer reads from top to bottom, and all the text should load first. So that's our job. And now we're gonna go to the jQuery website. We're gonna save the jQuery thing. That's how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna download the latest version of jQuery, and I'm gonna save it in my project, so I could use jQuery right from my project. I don't want to wait for it to upload from the internet, because sometimes it's better to have the local file in your PC. So I have this file now. Is the jQuery file. As you can see, it's all in one line. So there we go. So usually the jQuery should be connected to the also at the bottom, but before the index.js, because we will be using the jQuery and we'll be modifying what it has there. So we have connected two JavaScript files, and um, so that's about it. So our main work will be done in index.js, and we'll be mostly working with this file. So I'll be closing now this web page. I don't need it anymore. So after we have connected our JS file, I'm gonna check console log hi I am JS that I connected my JS file properly, and you can see that in the console it says that it's okay. So I can see that right now um, my JS file is connected. So the first thing I will need to do, um, I'll need to make it like some sort of a plan, like how things should work. So we'll be using the latest code, at least the latest code that I can understand and remember, because I know there is a lot of projects with the Simon game, and I will not only use JS, I will be using also jQuery as an example. So the first thing that I will be creating is the um, we'll call it like this. So we'll make a new variable using const, um, and it will be called next sequence. So this next sequence will have a callback function. Well, already made a minor mistake. Okay, so this next sequence will have a callback function, and the main things we'll be having in these um, curly, or how do we call these, brackets. So inside in here we will be um, generating a random number. So first of all, how to generate a random number. um, I've been thinking about this, and there is a great method. I think it's a method called, or a function. I will check how it's properly called. So it's a static method. I will show you just in a second. Not like this, but like this. So it's a static method that returns a floating point pseudo-random number that's greater than or equal to 0 and less than 1, with approximately uniform distribution over that range, which you can then scale to your desired range. So what does it mean? So this method generates as a number from 0 to 1. It can generate um, like any number, anything. So let's see how it will work and how it will look. So I'll be making here. So I'll be using console log so you could see what's the logic behind this math random. So I'll be looking. See, so every time I refresh my page, I get this number from 0 to 1. So it has a lot of um, numbers in here, but overall it generates me a fully total random number that has like, it always generates you this, so it's like a standard from the package um, thing. So the next thing I will be doing is I will be trying to save this random number inside a variable, so later on I could use this variable inside my project. So let's make a variable called random number. We'll make it like this. We'll make it really simple. Const random number. So it will be saving everything that is inside um, math random. So it's like a storage. So here you can see that I'm console logging everything that the random number has. So we have this type of working project. And so the next thing that we need to think about is what numbers should it save. Like we have 4 of these, so buttons, but the numbers that we are gonna save, they won't count from 1 to 4. They will count from 0 to 3, because that's how the arrays work. So if I'm gonna just show you the array. Let's say const array. So it will have an array that will store these numbers, but this array always begins with 0. That's how, as far as I understand, that's how coding works. So it always begins with 0. So as you can see, the numbers in this array start with 0. So it's 0. That's the, I think how it's called. I'll need to check. I'll need to check. So I think that it's called a key. I'll be using also something like ChatGPT, so I could better like explain you. Um, so those are the array indexes. So um, this is the 0 index, this is the 1 index, this is the 2 index. So the array starts with 0, and the math random, it will return the numbers that are gonna be then saved to an array. And so how can we actually make it like viable and understand? First of all, I want to get rid of the huge decimals in here, because we have a lot of decimals. I'll delete this array, and I'll show you that we're gonna get rid of the decimals, because this is a really big number. We're gonna make it a bit cleaner. So let's make this. There are also methods I'm gonna show you that work with math random. I think they are called they're called math floor, and we'll be using. Why do we need math floor? Because or math floor or something. Yeah, math floor. So I'm gonna show you how this will look like. So we're gonna use this one, math floor method, and we're gonna see how it will work and how it will look. So this actually takes out the decimals, but this actually brings our number always to 0. So whenever we have any decimal number in here, it's always it's gonna bring us to 0. So in order to change this, we're gonna make we're gonna multiply our result by 4, and you're gonna see that usually, whoa, I actually I'm actually trying to multiply 0 in here. So as you can see, I've made a mistake already, and I'm trying to multiply 0 and I get the answer that is 0. So usually you need to write that inside in here. So you could make a number, so it's already now it works. So usually this will work from 0 to 3. So you can see 1, 0, 3. So there should be 2. Yeah, so you can see like that. So that's how it works. So now I get numbers from 0 to 3. There are gonna be 4 numbers in an array now, because the array starts with 0. Because if I would actually make 5, let's see how it will work. If I'll have 5 in here and the array starts with 0, so we get the 0, we got the 3, we got the 4, we usually will have like 5 numbers in here. That is gonna be wrong because we have 4 colors. We are not gonna fit in here the 5th color, so that's why we times by 4. So that's how I understand this like logic. And so the next thing, we're gonna create an array that will be holding 4 of these colors. So it's green, red, yellow and blue. So let's create an array. I'm gonna create it on top, and you're gonna see that these colors will have 4 indexes. So we're gonna check this, as there are 4 colors, but they won't start from 1. They'll start from 0, and there'll be 4 of them. So those are gonna be const button colors. It will have an array. As you can see, this is an array. So in here the first one will be red, the second one will be blue, the third one will be green, and the fourth one will be yellow. So that's how it'll look. Let's check how it looks inside our console log. So inside we have an array red, blue, green, yellow. It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. So in programming, everything, I think everything starts from 0, and that's I think that differentiates from other things like counting money, because usually you count from 1 rather than you don't take into account 0. And so the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna somehow, we're not sure how yet, but we're gonna somehow unite this random number with a random chosen color. So how should we actually do this? The first thing that actually comes to my mind is this random number always shows us some numbers. So let's check it out. So it always shows us some numbers. I'm gonna show it you in the console log. It has every time it has number 2, number 1, number 1, okay, 1, 1, 2. So our array has 4 indexes. So that's like clear. So it has 4 numbers, our array has. So how should I actually how do we actually find things in an array? So usually if we want to choose something, like I'll show you, if to console log. So we have button colors, but how do we pick a color in here? You can see that there are different colors, but how, for example, we pick red? So there is a way. We actually add those brackets and we add like from 0 to 3. So I picked 1 and there we go, I picked blue. If I pick 0, it will give me red. So from 0 to 3 I can pick the numbers. But how can we um, let this random number inside our button colors? So it could randomly change our um, button colors. We can actually write inside in here our random number. So you can see now that it picks random colors using our variable random number. So that's how we are actually working with our random colors. Now it picks inside. So that's magic for me. For the first time when I saw this, I thought that that's so cool and that's so unique. That's super magic. And I have to admit that many things like this still actually make me wonder, like for a random person to understand this, it's so interesting and it's so unique. And so after we've done this, if we're gonna use this color, random color, we should actually make also a variable that can store the random color that the game has picked. So how should we do this? How do we actually store each value that we like? How do we save? I want to save, for example, something. So I've saved already some number from this operation. So from math floor, math random. So in here I saved number from 0 to 3. But now I need to save a color. So let's make another variable. So I'll make another variable like random chosen color, like random. You know why my variable is called random chosen color? Because I don't do anything and it works on its own. So that's how this works. So let's copy like our code from that we have made in the console log. And now, guys and my friends, we have saved the random chosen color inside this operation. We have saved inside the random chosen color. So you can see now we have our colors all generated in a random mode. So that's how we store our value, our random number, and we store it inside a random chosen color that it has these numbers. So that's how this, like, I would say this is an interesting operation, how things are done. And sometimes it's not easy to understand from straight away, but if you look at the code, it's logic. It's logic, it's pure logic. Um, so the next one is we need to create a new um, array. So it will store our game pattern. So whenever a color is generated, we should actually save this color into an array. So let's check like this. So we have an array, we'll have it empty, and this array game pattern, it will be storing every color that it generates. So I'm gonna use a unique method that all arrays use. So I think it's a method. I'm gonna check also using the website. Yeah, it's a method, and this method uses a word called push. So um, each time we generate a random color, this color will be pushed into the game pattern. Let's check it out. So I'm gonna use this game pattern. This game pattern, as you can see, also has a lot of methods. Map for each length, join, and lots of things. But we're gonna use the one that is saying push. So this method will add an element at the end of an array and return a new length of the array. So let's check it. So it will choose that this random color will be pushed inside this array. So let's now check this game pattern. I don't know. Yes, it stores right now. This game pattern stores every time I refresh my page some kind of random color, and you can see it's already like working. So we have already done this thing. So everything we need to now put inside this function called next sequence. So you can see everything that we have, they have names. So like we wouldn't get uh, mm, mixed. And now actually it doesn't work. You can see that the array is empty because we didn't call our next sequence. So I'm gonna show you. One thing. Just gonna play some sound because my headphones actually always get away, turn off if they don't hear any sound. And I'm gonna put some sort of music at the I don't think that any one of you will hear it except me, because every time I forget about my headphones are just turning off. So that's why I need to keep them. Okay. So after we have put this code inside our variable, we need to somehow call this function in order for this code to work. At least that's how I understand it. So I'll need to call this next sequence. and I will check now through the console log, does the game pattern store anything? Yes, it stores. So our code actually works. And let me explain you what's happening in here again. Maybe some people got like mixed and they're like, oh, what's going on in here? So we have created a function called next sequence. We have created a variable called random number that stores random numbers from 0 to 3. As you can see, this math random has a multiply by 4, and after, if we have a high number like 5 or something, it will store it to 3. That's the maximum we'll have. So this could fit into our array that has indices from 0 to 3. We're not using the colors instead of indices. We're using the array indices. So after that, we put this random number, we store this number inside our variable and use this variable in our button colors. So now this math random chooses randomly what color we will have, and after that we store this inside our random chosen color. You can see that there is some logic in the names and of these things. So there is like, it's not like we are trying to make something unreal and try to make things like from our head. No, this is logic. After that, we have created an array called game pattern, and we store our random chosen color inside this array using a method called push. So nothing like really complicated, but that's how it actually works. So after we've done this, we will have to we're going to use now jQuery. So I'm going to show you how jQuery will be used in here in this unique code. So first of all, we need to understand how using jQuery we're gonna pick these colors. So we have 4 colors, and we need to understand how we're gonna pick using jQuery. So if it was using through JS, it would be a bit the code would be longer, but using with jQuery it's a lot easier. So let's give it a try. I'm gonna test it. So we have this I always forget how it's called, but I think this hash. So this hash, I'm gonna check. This hash is actually targeting our IDs. That's how we get the IDs using hash. That actually works the same in JS. I'm gonna show you what's actually happening inside. So this $sign is the jQuery thing, is that it means that we are using jQuery. So it says that syntax error, unrecognized expression, because I guess it doesn't know what I am trying to get. So I'm trying to get the ID, and in jQuery, if I am trying to get the ID, I need to use a plus, and let's say I'm gonna use like this. It won't work. I think like this it will work. Or it's this line. Yeah. So you can see that by using an ID, this hashtag, and the color, I actually pick the button that I want. So it's those IDs, as we can see. So, but I want this IDs to be chosen randomly. So, as you can see, I have an array that has these IDs. So, I already have something like this, and by doing this, if I have the random numbers already working, I have the random colors already working, I actually can make this ID generated randomly. So let's check it out. We're gonna use random, I think like this, random chosen color, and you can see that now every time that I will refresh my page, this this function, this jQuery thing, will pick a random color every time I refresh. So that's unique for my understanding, because I also thought that this would be um, something different. So this jQuery is using the same ID as the random chosen color. So they are now like picking up the same color. But now I need to make some sort of effects. So as you can see in this game, um, there is also an effect that when you press, something happens, and I need to make something similar to mine, because if I click, nothing happens. So how should I do it? jQuery has a couple of things that it can make. I'm gonna show you again this website in the API documentation about let's search for fade things, or some things that actually can imitate um, like something that we could check. So we have a fade. I think it's a method. It's called a method, or even a function. Okay, so we have a fade function. As you can see, it has some interesting things. So let's say it can use words, it can use numbers. Let's test it. So usually these functions or methods we add in here. So, but there is no like anything that will tell me. So fade in. Oh, okay. So we're gonna see if anything happens now. But nothing happens, yeah. Okay, fade in, and we're gonna add some numbers. Still nothing happens because usually this thing is actually showing me that I have clicked, but I need to make it disappear after this effect, and that's I think is called fade out. So it's hide the matched elements by fading them to transparent. Yeah, let's check it. So now it has faded out. So let's try to use fade out and see how it works. Instead of this, we're going to use fade out, and those are the numbers. Those are 100 milliseconds, I think. Yes, so you can see my button has disappeared. But let's use again fade in so it could appear again. So after every time we refresh, some sort of random button fades, and that's because our random generator number works. So those are the numbers, 100 milliseconds next to each function. So that's how we make our buttons fade in, fade out. But I think before fade out we need to make a fade in, but I'll check. I'm gonna check this code and see what ChatGPT will say about this. So the ChatGPT says that that's not needed. But actually it suggests me to use fade toggle, so I'll need to search what does this mean and how we use it. As you can see, there is a fade toggle. Display or hide the matched elements by animating their opacity. So it's like it says it's more cleaner. Let's check it out. Yeah, let's check it out. Fade toggle instead of this. I'm gonna see how it works. I've deleted, I guess, something. Fade toggle. Okay, let's check. Oh, it actually disappears, as you can see. So I guess I cannot use fade toggle because the button completely disappears. So this thing actually even disappears. But what if I use it a second time? Let's check it out. So let's check it out. Yeah, look at this. So the button is actually like, if we make it faster, I don't know what's the standard of fading, how many milliseconds it has, but I think that's interesting. Okay, I will leave the fade things because at least for me it looks interesting. So after I've done the fading effects, I think I will need to get rid of the console log. So I'm going to delete the console log. So now we have this fade function. That's the chat GPT told me like try to use. Okay, I will use it as an idea. Maybe it's something interesting. Okay, so the next step we need to make is after this fade uh, situations happens, so we need to play some sound. As you can see, that there are some sounds, and we need to not only play sounds, but we need to place the sounds that are in the random chosen color. So for example, if we get the color red, we need to play the red sound. How should we actually realize that? It's not that easy how it sounds, because for me it's also like a difficult question, but I think I already have made a long way. So we're gonna create a variable called a function const play sound. So this play sound um, it will store our sounds. So how can we actually make something like this store our sound? Like, how should we um, I'm gonna make it a bit easier right in the beginning because I have a few ideas. So we have this, actually I'll make this a bit later. So how do we actually play the sound in a random mode? So I'll make a variable called audio, and this audio, so that's the, I think that's the constructor. It's called constructor in JavaScript, I think. So it should get the sounds from the folder, and now how do we actually choose a color, a random color, to play a random sound? So we have already this variable random chosen color. So let's write it in here, random chosen color. Or maybe I'll make it a bit easier. I'll write myself at first. So let's say it's green. And we need to write that it's MP3. So let's check it out. So now we will be using the audio and play. Whoa. How is play called in here? So play is a method that attempts to begin playback of the media. So let's check it out, guys. I don't know. Did I write it right or wrong? Because it should somehow play. Let's get this out in here. No, the play failed because they didn't interact with the document first. So it will not play before the user interacts with the document. That's the latest things about the Chrome browser. Maybe in Mozilla Firefox it will actually play straight away. I don't know. I didn't test it, but the logic in here is that, let's check this out. I don't know if it's working. Okay, so as you can see, the sound is playing. I just heard it, and now it's playing a green sound because I've written in here, I've hard coded in here a word called green, but we have a random chosen color, so we can actually, instead of this word, we can write a random chosen color. Now this will store um, any, I don't know, any color and play its sound. So as you can see, the current source, I think it's correct, but because of the Windows like latest updates, it doesn't play the sound straight away. But we have stored already this color. So now, if we let's say we have created a new function, a new variable, a new function that's called play sound. So let's write this code in here, audio, new audio. So it should have sounds. That's the folder sounds. So that's the sounds folder in here, and we need to choose the random chosen color. But if we try to actually make it in here, so we have a problem. We have a minor problem because in here our variable, the random chosen color, we can't see it. So that's this function, this next secret function, it saves data inside, but we cannot retrieve it by just playing this data in here. So I'm gonna check how that will look like. Let's call this play sound, and let's check how it will look like. So as you can see, the random chosen color inside our play sound, it's not defined. I mean, it like it doesn't exist or something. So we don't know what's the random chosen color in here. So now we need to think about how we should pass this function, random chosen color, this not function, this variable inside play sound. So I have an interesting idea. So I'll show you. Every function, like you can see in here, you can pass like a parameter, a variable inside in here, an argument. Many people call it like anything what they have in their heads, but I will try to pass in here this random chosen color. How I can do this? So first of all, I need to get rid of this code. I don't need it here because I have already it in here. And now I need to get rid of this because this it just calls this function that doesn't see what is random chosen color. So I need to figure out how I can pass random chosen color inside play sound. So if I will try to call play sound from here after I have this random chosen color, I still get this error message, and that means that it doesn't know what random chosen color is. But how can we make it know, like, what is it? How does it work? Like, mm, how do we make it this thing, like, see what is this about? Well, first of all, inside in this parameter, we can pass this random chosen color. Let's say we made it like this, but now we still don't, it still doesn't see what random chosen color is. But how can we pass this thing inside play sound? So it also needs to have like a random chosen color, a parameter. Let's see. Now we have it working because I don't see any error messages. So, but you know, if we actually save the same variable in here, we might get a bit mixed. So I'll have a like a some sort of variable with a different like code, because it also makes me a bit mixed. um, I need to think about it, what name I will give to this. um, let's say I will have a name of um, what kind of name will I need to give so I could understand what does this variable do, from where it gets the data. um, it's harder actually to make names from variables rather than make functions, the code and stuff. It's really hard sometimes, but I need to think about it. Let's say I'll give it a name of um, so it should play sound of a random chosen color. Let's say it will have a name variable, because in here in the sounds we pass a name, so like this. Okay, so this code we have made like today, and that's not a lot, but you can see that the logic is really interesting. We were using jQuery, but we haven't finished making, but we can also see how things work. So when the next sequence starts, we're calling it in here. After this code finishes, so after we get the random number, random chosen color, we push the random chosen color inside game pattern. After we choose a random chosen color, so we see what's happening, what color it has chosen. We use the fade toggle method, and only after this play sounds receive our random chosen color, and after it's called, so this random chosen color becomes a name of this color, and we put it inside our audio, and after all of this the audio plays. So I don't know if a lot of you understood, but um, we can check that this game pattern using console log stores our color. Yeah, so it was green, and it even played the sound blue, So all of this code, at least for now, looks as if it's working properly. And we have made a nice job today, so we'll continue a bit later. Thanks for watching.